In this video, I'm going to talk about spot reduction, some myth around it, and the science behind it. After that, we're going to discuss whether going for a spot reduction strategy is actually worth it, and then I will explain to you the steps that you need to take if you want to do it anyway. Spot reduction is losing fat in a specific part of your body that you choose. It is a common belief that if you work out that area, you're going to have fat loss in that area. This is why you see a lot of guys doing crunches to see their six-pack abs, and also the reason thigh blaster programs exist, because women usually want to lose the fat around their hips or thighs. Until today, many studies have been done to test if spot reduction is possible, and almost all of them have shown spot reduction to be impossible. But there is a big problem with that. Their methodologies were not good. For example, no actual fat loss happened in most of these studies, which makes detecting spot reduction really hard. This new study, however, did things differently. Now, we are going to talk about the study in detail later on in the video, but first, let's dispel some myth. It is a myth that if you work out a certain area, for example, crunches for abs, you will get fat loss in that area. There is more to it than that. First of all, if you're going to burn any fat anywhere, you will have to be in what we call a caloric deficit, which means that what you're taking in through your eating has to be lower than what your body is burning. This deficit can be created through diet, like fasting, keto, calorie counting, anything else like that, or it can also be created through exercise. The most important thing is that it needs to exist. But a movement like a crunch by itself burns so little calories that it will not create any fat loss anywhere. Now let's talk about the study and its design. There were two groups in the study. Group 1 would upper body resistance train, and then they would do 30 minutes of cycling at 50% of VO2 max. Group 2 would resistance train their lower body, followed by 30 minutes on an arm ergometer. They also did it at 50% VO2 max. By the way, VO2 max means the maximal amount of oxygen that you could be using, and a 50% VO2 max is somewhere along the lines of 70% of your maximal heart rate. Another good feature of this study was that they made sure that both groups had fat loss, and this means that they made sure that there was a caloric deficit, and they made sure that both groups lost the same amount of fat overall. After 12 weeks, they measured their body composition, and the lower body resistance group had lost more fat on the lower body, and the upper body resistance group had lost more fat on the upper body. The caveat is that they used a low intensity cardio exercise immediately following the resistance training exercise. Now here's the part that I'm going to explain what we need to do to make spot reduction work for us, so you might want to pay attention to this one. In order to get spot reduction, we need to satisfy three conditions. Number 1, we need to resistance train the area that you want the fat loss to come from with relatively high intensity, around 70% of your 1 repetition maximum, or around the weight that you can do 12 reps of. This will lead to an increase of temperature and blood flow to that area, and also the delivery of fat-burning hormones like epinephrine to that area. This will cause lipolysis, or the breakdown of fat from the nearby fat tissues. But if left unused, this fat is just going to go back to where it came from, or in biomechanical jargon, is going to re-esterify. This is where the cardio comes in. So number 2, we're going to need to make an immediate caloric need by the body to burn the now circulating fatty acids. The best way to do that is to do LISS, or low intensity steady state cardio, which happens around 70% of your maximum heart rate, and is also referred to as the fat burning zone on any cardio exercise machine. As a quick aside, LISS is not the best way to burn fat overall. The best way would be HIIT, or high intensity interval training cardio, but the point is that each kind of cardio uses a different energy pathway. HIIT uses the glycolytic pathways, and it creates an exercise in such a high intensity that the body literally cannot keep up with the oxygen needs, and it will create what is called an oxygen debt. After the exercise is done, in order to pay for that oxygen debt, your body will increase your metabolism, and it will increase the rate with which you take oxygen in. And this will happen throughout a 24 to 48 hour period. In the scientific terminology, it's called EPOC, or excessive post-exercise oxygen consumption, or it's also colloquially referred to as the afterburn effect. So what happens is your body will use more energy in 24 to 48 hours following that exercise, and in the long run, it will burn more calories than just normal cardio. But in this case, we need the energy to come immediately and in the form of fat. That is why we're going to utilize LISS cardio. In a 30-minute list cardio session, you will burn around 200 calories. A pound of fat is 3,500 calories. So you will burn a pound of fat specifically from your stomach in around 14 sessions. Now, it is really hard for us to fathom how much a pound of fat is. So I'm going to put this 5 pounds of fat here on the screen, and you can see it only takes 87 sessions to get rid of all this fat just from your belly. Finally, number 3, we need to make sure that we are in the overall caloric deficit so that the fat we just lost does not get replaced. To put it all into perspective, for example, if you want to lose fat from your belly, you can do this. First, resistance train your abs. You can do cable crunches for 12 reps, or you can do a hard variation of the plank that you can do for around 25 seconds. Do 3 to 5 sets with 1 minute rest in between, and also keep in mind, if you go to train your abs when you're in a fasted state, it works much better because in that case, your body does not have any fat that is coming from your diet to burn, so it will have to access its own fat stores, which in this case comes from your midsection. Immediately after that, hop on a stationary bike and do 30 minutes of cardio at around 70% of your maximum heart rate, which is around 120 to 135 BPM for most people. Make sure to keep your diet in check, and every time you do this, you will be taking off one layer of fat from your midsection. Before we conclude, let's talk about whether this is an overall good strategy for burning fat and if spot reduction is worth all the hassle. Now, if you have a higher body fat percentage, like 25% for men or 35% for women, it is a much better idea to try to lose all that fat first through a faster and more efficient way, like the HIIT cardio, and also by cleaning up your diet. After you get to 15% for men and 25% body fat for women, you can start tinkering with spot reduction. This is especially true if you're content with the body fat levels in other parts of your body, but you want a specific body part to lose fat. For example, you might want to keep the fat on your hips or your butt if you're a woman and you want to lose the fat from your triceps. Or if you're a man, you might want to lose the fat from your abs and you might want to keep the fats on your arm to make them look bigger. So while spot reduction is a slower strategy overall, the precision that you get from it in literally sculpting your body is actually worth it. I hope this video has been informative. I have this small goal of hitting 200 subscribers by the end of August, so if you think the content in this channel can be helpful to you, consider subscribing to my channel and maybe leave a like. Make sure to share this video with friends who might find this information helpful, and if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section below. Stay wise, stay fit.